All right, opening zoning board of appeals, October 7, 2021. Pursuant to the executive orders, we're conducting this meeting remotely through WebEx. So please bear with us, take your time, stay on mute unless you're invited to speak or you let me know that you need to speak, and I will allow you to speak at appropriate times, so we only have one person talking at a time. But before we get going, we have preliminary matters, and the first is approval of the minutes from our September 2, 2021 meeting. Entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Daphne. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Brian. All right, is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, the board members, I can see if you raise your hand in favor, please raise your hand in favor. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, no hands stayed up. That would be, you can't vote both ways. No abstention, that motion carries. Our second is approval of secretary's fees. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Thank you, Daphne. Is there any discussion? Okay, all board members in favor, raise your hand in favor. I see everyone's hand raised. Thank you. No opposition, no abstention. That motion carries. And we have about 5 minutes and then I'll call to order. But before I do that, I just want to recognize one of our board members right now, Daphne Dixon. She's been an alternate for about 12 years. We have an upcoming election and Daphne is not seeking re-election. She probably would have easily been obtained since she was successful on several previous occasions on being re-elected as an alternate. I want to thank her. I've been chair for a long time, but I was secretary before that, and Daphne has been a very valuable member to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Always had good questions, always had good comments, got the discussion going. We're certainly going to miss her and wish her the best of luck, but I just wanted to recognize her here in this public meeting because I certainly appreciate her. I appreciate all the members, but I appreciate Daphne's service to the town of Fairfield for about 12 years now. And thank you, Daphne.
Thank you so much. It's been such an honor and privilege to be a part of the board. It's been an exceptional experience, and I wish you all the best. I'm going to miss everybody. I don't know what I will do with my Thursday. First Thursday, I'm sure it'll fill up somehow, but it's just been amazing, and it's just so much respect for all of you. Kevin, you know, I remember before you were chair and you became chair, and you've done such an excellent job, you know, after we lost our former chair, Bob Brennan. So thank you so much for all that you do, and I'll miss everybody very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daphne. Certainly.
Daphne.
Thank you very much on that. Bob Brennan was excellent chairman, and I learned from him. I'm still working. It's been about 7 years now. I'm still trying to be half as good as he was. So, I think we can start. I can make the opening call, and just a reminder, some people have joined. We have several items that are going to be postponed or continued until our November hearing. And I'll read them out by the address just so there's no confusion. 645 Fairfield Beach Road, 3280, 3300 Post Road, 599 Kings Highway West, 830 Beach Road, and 88 Dwight Street are all going to go forward in November, or they're continued at least. Maybe, I don't know if they'll go forward, we'll see. But they're continued and slotted for our November hearing. And the last item on our docket, which is 21 Beacon View Drive, that has been withdrawn by the applicant, so that will not go forward unless it's refiled at a later date. So no business on any of those items. And now I will bring our call to order. Zoning Board of Appeals, October 7, 2021. After a matter is called, I will, and the call is done, I will invite the applicant as our agent to present your case. Just so you know, we have been able to review your application and maps and items that you've submitted. So you'll be feel free to refer to those. If you want to do a screen share and you have that capability, we welcome that as well, but it's not required because we have reviewed and have your application with the maps already been done. So while you're presenting your application, please refer to anything. Only one person can talk at a time. So, there might be a couple people. If you want to present to two people, I see sometimes two people on the screen. If one has it, just hand it off to your co-applicant to address us. After the applicant's presentation, it's possible that there'll be some questions from the board, and I'll open up to the board for questions. If there are no questions or after the questions, I will then invite anyone who is in favor or opposed. I will make that announcement to let me know, to raise your hand, to unmute yourself, to let me know at that time. And then once you let me know and I acknowledge that you want to speak, go back on mute, and then I will call you one at a time so we can speak. We need to make sure, try to keep this as clear and clean as possible. I will first allow people if in favor of the application to speak, and then I will allow those who oppose that application to speak. If there is any opposition, I will allow the applicant to address those comments that were made in opposition. At that time, it's not a time or opportunity to state your whole application again or make your arguments to us again. It's a time to address the opposing comments only. The meeting is being taped, and some of my instructions, you should probably figure that out. It's very important that we be able to hear the tape, so we can only have one person talking at a time. Anyone who does wish to speak by comment, make sure you give us your name and make sure you give us your address. Also, if there is a back and forth of question answer, and it's not obvious, please make sure you state your name before you begin speaking again. It will help us, and it will help Josephine make the minutes clearer, and it will also make a clearer record. If your comments are too far off the point, just keep in mind, as chairman, I reserve my right to restrict your comments at any time. We're a zoning board of appeals, so our issues are limited to a variance of a particular zoning regulation that is at issue. So, that is what we're focusing on. So please keep your comments to that particular aspect. If the applicants or anyone who's interested, want to remain in attendance, we will be voting on everything that goes forward today. After a short break, it's probably won't even need to take a short break because the docket became much shorter after people continued it. So we'll probably go right back into our working session, and there'll be 5 members discussing and voting on each application that goes forward today. We welcome you to remain in attendance to find out what was discussed. I think it's very important, particularly for the people that are interested in that application, whether you're the applicant or whether you're someone that's favor or opposed to it, because we have a discussion about it and then we vote. And you can learn some important things as to why we did what we're doing. If the application for waiver is granted, it's not going to be valid until it's recorded in the land records. Therefore, you must bring or send a check to the zoning office made out to the town of Fairfield in the amount of $60. Do that Wednesday or later following the meeting. That will allow for proper recording of the notice. Any waiver involving construction, whether it's a new dwelling, an addition, or an alteration, will require an as-built before the issuance of a certificate of zoning compliance and a certificate of occupancy. If you cannot wait and stay and remain in attendance, don't worry. You can find out what happened on your particular matter by contacting the zoning office tomorrow or later. But I do think it's important to remain in attendance because the zoning office will probably just tell you what happened, granted, denied, and you might not get a good insight as to what our discussion was about. So I'll start the first. I have to announce them and indicate that they were continued. So bear with me for a little bit before we actually get down to business. On our continued docket, number 12, 645 Fairfield Beach Road, that application has been continued to the November hearing. Continued docket number 10, 3280 and 3300 Post Road, that has been continued to our November hearing. Continued docket number 11, 599 Kings Highway West, that has been continued to our November docket. Our general docket, which brings our first piece of business this afternoon, is 314 Sturgis Road, map 179, parcel 271. Petition of Frank B. Clark II for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 5.2.5, to increase the lot coverage from 15%, currently 16.2%, proposing 21.5%. Permission to construct a rear deck, premises R2 zone. I think Mr. Clark is here. I think I saw you. Unmute yourself, sir.
I'm here.
Go ahead.
I want to construct a deck on the back of my house. It doesn't exceed the extent of the property in width. And it's approximately 17 feet off the back of the house. My hardship is that I reside in a house that was constructed in 1928, located within the R2 district. One family with the requirements of 14,000 square foot lot size and a square of 80. This property is 8,916 square feet and a square of only 60 feet. I want to provide a deck off the back of the house.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Clark? Having no questions. All right. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to this application for 314 Sturgis Road? Hearing nothing, we're going to close the hearing. Well, since no one spoke up, we're going to close the hearing on 314 Sturgis Road. Mr. Clark, thank you very much. We'll be taking that up shortly.
I shall mute. Thank you.
Next item for business is number 2, 24 Thorpe Street, map 180, parcel 166. Petition of Marshmallow Holdings LLC for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 12.7.6.1, to reduce the street line setback from 10 feet, proposing 6.2 feet. Permission to construct a monument sign, premises CDD zone. And who's presenting that?
It's me, Anna.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Anna Siskar. I am applying for this variance because I have my law office there and I need to put up a signage for my business, but the current zoning regulations only allows me to put a signage 10 feet back from the property line. So that's, the driveway, nobody could see it. So I hope to be able to put up a signage in 6.2, and it's just a small signage. It's 28 inches by 32 inches. So it's your typical one. But, that would be enough to make it visible, without also distracting into, like the character of the other properties in the street.
Thank you, Ms. Siskar. Does the board have any questions for Ms. Siskar? Yes, Jane, go ahead. Unmute. Yep.
Hi, your porch is beyond the 10 feet, so you're able to put a sign on your porch or on the front wall of your building, similar to 2 other businesses on your block. Have you considered that?
I have, but it's, blocked by the pillars of the porch, so it's not really visible. Yeah.
And the sign that you're proposing, are you planning to illuminate it as well? No? So after dark, no one would see it?
I mean, we have like lighting outside, but not in the sign.
Okay, well, those are my questions. Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Siskar? Okay. Katie, go ahead.
The hardship is?
I mean, it's a business, so obviously it needs to be seen. And at this point, I'm not, like visible. And I'm in a mixed, like residential commercial area. And, like my signage is really very it's gonna make it visible enough, but it's even like small as compared to the signages, in the adjacent, like businesses.
Thanks.
Any other questions from the board? All right. Having no other questions, is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to this application, 24 Thorpe Street? No comments or requests to be heard being made. We're going to close the hearing on 24 Thorpe Street. Thank you very much, Ms. Siskar. We'll be taking that up shortly. Our next item on our agenda is number 3, 830 Beach Road. That has been continued to our November hearing. Number 4, 75 Harvester Road, maps 47, parcel 308, petition of Revel by Design and Ashley Fox for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the street line setbacks to the house and open front porch and both sidelines from 40 feet to the house and 30 feet to the open front porch and 15 feet to either sideline, currently 32.1 feet to the house, 9 feet and 14.2 feet to the sides, proposing 30.6 feet to the house, 24.7 feet to the open front porch, and 9 feet and 14.2 feet to the sidelines. Permission to construct a second story with attic addition and new open front porch, premises R3 zone. And is the owner?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ashley. Ms. Fox, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, Chairman and board members. Thanks for the opportunity to present my application today for 75 Harvester Road. It's in the R3 zone. My name is Ashley Fox, and I'm the property owner. So I'm seeking 3 variances actually for each side of the property and the street line. So I've shared my plans with the immediate neighbors, the survey, and the proposed floor plan and design. And all of the immediate neighbors I've been able to contact have all signed the form in support of the application, except for one neighbor who's not an immediate neighbor, the neighbor just behind the house, who I was not able to reach after 3 attempts. And we haven't heard back from any of the letters that were sent. So I just wanted to communicate that there's been support for the project thus far. Hardship exists at the house. It is pre-existing non-conforming structure as it sits today with respect to both of the sidelines and the street setbacks themselves. We propose the structure will remain within the existing non-compliant footprint. As well, the sideline setback distance will be unchanged. So I'm seeking a waiver to add an open front porch, which will result in a reduction of the existing, ranging from 32.1 to 30.6, as you mentioned. So the lot line in this neighborhood does not run parallel to the street or this particular parcel. So there'll be an additional 1.5 foot reduction at the minimum distance from the road. And basically, even though the depth of the lot was sufficient when the original owner constructed the house, they chose to build the house, aligning with the homes on either side for consistency. That's my proposal. I'm happy to take questions as you may have them.
Thank you, Ms. Fox. Does the board have any questions for Ms. Fox? All right, no questions.
So
Oh,
my
I'm
only
sorry,
concern-
Daphne.
That's okay. My only concern is it seems like it's going to be just a little bit bigger than some of the surrounding houses. So I'm just a little concerned that it might kind of sort of change the feel of that street. So
Yeah, so if I could comment on that. So I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about that exact point, just making sure it fits within the character of the home. And the home if you're looking at the home just to the left of it, is actually quite large and much larger. And in the designs that we've tried to put together, we've deliberately tried to make it feel quaint and not overbearing at all. And that's the feedback that all the neighbors provided as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions from the board? All right, no other questions. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to this application, which is 75 Harvester Road? No requests to make comment. I'm going to close the hearing now on 75 Harvester Road. Thank you very much, Ms. Fox.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is number 5, which is 88 Dwight Street. That has been continued to our November hearing. Next item for business, which we'll have business on, is number 6, 65 New Street, map 28, parcel 550, petition of Benjamin T. and Kate Levigny for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4.3, to reduce the side and rear setbacks for an accessory structure from 10 feet, currently 4.2 feet and 3.8 feet, proposing 6.2 feet and 5.8 feet, permission to construct a second-story addition to an existing detached garage, premises A zone. And are the applicants here?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for hearing us. My name is Ben Levine. This is my wife, Kate, and we are seeking a request to increase the height of the setback in order to create a livable space above our garage for a home office for work from home. We currently have an undersized lot, and there's really nowhere else to put this setback. So we're just requesting to increase the height in order to create that work from home office.
All right, thank you. Does the board have any questions for Levines?
Yeah, just a quick one. What's going to be the effect on those 2 trees surrounding the garage? Are they staying up, coming down, trimming back?
They'll be staying up. We talked to the architect about that, and he's going to be able to do that without taking the trees down. Just slight trimming on one of them.
Great.
Any other questions from the board? Yes, Daphne.
And there's no, it's just space. Is there a bathroom you're planning in there, or just?
Yeah, there is just a small bathroom, just so that there's not travel between the office and the house.
But no cooking?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor or against this application, 65 New Street? No one requesting to be heard. I'm going to close the hearing on 65 New Street. Thank you very much. Next item is number 7, 101 Millard Street, map 182, parcel 60, petition of William S. and Justine Levy for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the sum of 2 sideline setbacks from 20 feet, currently 18.3 feet, proposing 18.3 feet, and section 5.2.4.3 to reduce the sideline setback for an accessory structure from 4 feet, proposing 2.3 feet, permission to construct a second floor addition with attic and a detached 1-car garage, premises B zone. And Mr. Levy, there you go. Go ahead.
How are you? Thank you for accepting the petition to build our home on Millard Street. We're asking for relief on the side yard setbacks as the current house that's there runs to the 18.3 feet. So we'd like to just build straight up on the house, add a second story for our family. And then for the garage, we were trying to reduce the amount of asphalt on the property. So we're trying to bring the garage forward. In doing so, we want to make sure we can get into the garage from the driveway. So we wanted to push it a little bit to the left. We spoke to the neighbors. We have two pages and a signature. In terms of all the people around us, no one's opposed to it. Pretty much it.
All right. Thank you. Does the board have any questions, Ms. Levy? No questions. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to this application 101 Millard Street? No one has requested comment. I'm going to close the hearing on 101 Millard Street. Thank you, Mr. Levy.
Thank you.
Our next item is number 8, 267 South Pine Creek Road, map 231, parcel 35, petition of Karen Jabber for variance of the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4 to reduce the secondary street line setback on a corner lot from 17 feet, currently 5.5 feet, proposing 11.8 feet to the house and 5.3 feet to the open front porch, and section 5.2.5 to increase the lot coverage and total floor area from 30% and 50%, currently 21.8% and 18.6%, proposing 31.6% and 58%, permission to construct a new FEMA compliant 2.5-story single-family addition with front porch, premises B zone. And who's presenting this application? I think you're on mute, Karen, or yes, you are.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just a quick question, is this the more condensed version, or should I just present what I have? I wasn't sure if we'd have a chance later to speak again from what you said.
I'm reading off the call as to what is on our thing. I'm not, Matt, was there something on this?
No, once you're done, Karen,
Yeah.
and the chairman closes the application, that's it.
That's it. Okay, just wanted to check.
So
Okay,
make sure
okay.
you say everything you want to say now.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Okay, so I currently live in Fairfield. My name is Karen Jaber, and I've been a resident for 18 years. And I live in town with my partner, Scott, and our 5 children who range in age from 18 to 24. Not all of them live at home. 2 live at home, 2 are in the Marines in California, and 1's away at college. So we're seeking basically a larger home for our family. We plan to build a 2-story single-family FEMA compliant home at 267 South Pine Creek Road, which is located in the AE flood zone and in Zone B. It's identified in the tax assessor's records as parcel 35 on assessor's map 231. So the current dwelling, I purchased it in July of 2021, so just a couple of months ago, and it's at the corner of South Pine Creek Road and Rugby Road. The minimum lot area requirement in the Zone B is 6,000 square feet, and this lot is non-conforming. It's a smaller lot at 5,579 feet, which basically forms the basis of our first hardship. And the second hardship is also the narrow and odd shape of the lot. The current home on the property is not FEMA compliant, and the third hardship really is the setback, mainly on Rugby Road, and I can get into the details there. Our intent is to construct a reasonably sized new, single-family FEMA compliant home, and the proposed home will address all the relevant FEMA regulations. So we're requesting a variance of section 5.2.4 of the zoning regulations to reduce the sum of the 2 side street line setbacks from 17 feet, presently 5.5 feet, to 11.8 feet. The proposed home stairway is where the current dwelling step back is right now. With respect to the house, the lot is only 45 feet deep, which would result in a house that would only be about 20 to 22 feet deep after siding, insulation, and walls. And while that's technically possible, it's extremely impractical. And secondly, the current home it is not FEMA compliant and non-conforming, as I mentioned. And to properly elevate the home, the proposed stairway and landing are necessary to access the proposed first floor. As far as the setback goes on Rugby Road, which is a dead end, is a significant and unnecessary right of way, which poses a hardship. Most of the side street setbacks throughout town average about 7 to 10 feet. Rugby Road is an outlier and at 17 feet, which poses a hardship. So that's for 5.2.4. And then the second variance is to increase the lot coverage and total floor area. Lot coverage from 30 to 31.6%, and then the FAR from 50 to 58%. I just want to point out that the proposed lot coverage would be the allowable amount if the lot was conforming and 6,000 square feet. The lot really is odd and narrow, so I think really what we're doing is a reasonable and quite an improvement from the current home that's there today. And I think if the requested variances are granted, we'll be able to construct the new home, which is very similar to other homes in the neighborhood, with the intent of living in this home with our family. I guess the other thing I'd like to bring up is I have spoken to the neighbors. I didn't know any of them, so it was a little awkward, I think, during COVID, getting people to answer their doors when a stranger's there. But I did get support from Janet Taransky at 40 Rugby Road, Bettina Wolfert at 17 Rugby Road, and then Mary Wittenbert at 289 South Pine Creek Road. There were a couple houses that were vacant, like 56 Rugby Road, which is vacant and has demolition signs, and 288 South Pine Creek, which just sold, so that's also vacant. But I did get support from the 3 closest neighbors surrounding the property.
Thank you, Ms. Jaber.
Thank you.
Does the board have any questions? Yes, Daphne, go ahead.
All right, so this is a new construction you're
Yes.
proposing here. So my question is, if it's new construction, what considerations have you given, if any, to building a home without asking for any variances? What kind of consideration have you given that? Have you tried?
Sure, yeah. So we actually started off with that, and what we ended up with was a really thin and long property with very, very awkward footprint that took up, really, you ended up with no yard, like a little bit on surrounding, because you ended up having to go about 60 feet by 20 something feet, about 22 feet, and almost like a train car. So that was one of the challenges. So then our goal was, when we started, and we've been through, you'll see four major revisions on the floor plans, but we've been through over 6 with the architect as it is, just mapping out different things. And we started with what the footprint allowed, which was I think right around 2,800 square feet, 1,400 square feet on each floor. We really wanted 2-car garages because we've had some issues with theft in town and want our vehicles garaged. So that really afforded us what I think is reasonable and a modest home, about less than 1,000 square feet of living space, and then 3 bedrooms on the second floor, which we needed at least 3 bedrooms. Where I think that we went a little above, and why we needed the variance, at least on the lot coverage, or sorry, at least on the FAR, was that we wanted like a bonus type of space, given we just didn't have that. We don't have really a formal living room. We don't have a lot of things that we had to forego, but just a room, call it a playroom or office, that could be up in the attic. So I think that's what where we had to ask for the variance as well.
When you purchased the property, did you always know you were going to want to tear it down, or did you ever consider just keeping it?
I don't know if you've seen the house, but it's about 100 years old with a flooding basement below the, and we couldn't even use the foundation. It's like 600 square feet officially.
So you purchased it to
Yeah.
tear it down
Well,
to build
we did
something.
think
Okay,
about trying
just
to,
for the record.
yeah,
Okay,
no,
just
and
checking.
we did think about trying to use the footprint, but it was just so shot. We couldn't do that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Go ahead, Katie.
I'm sorry, I missed. I think you mentioned what the total square foot of the house was. I don't see a survey in the packet. So what's the total square footage of what you're going to be building?
Including the attic, it's 3,222. So without the attic, it's 2,800.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to this application, which is 267 South Pine Creek Road? No one requesting comment. I'll close the hearing now on 267 South Pine Creek Road. Ms. Jaber, thank you very much. We'll be taking that up very shortly.
Thank you.
Our next item, final item, is number 9. And that is final item for business. 1517 Beacon View Drive, map 42, parcel 622. Petition of Elami Palik for variance of the zoning regulation, section 2.8.1.1, to expand a pre-existing non-conforming two-family dwelling. Permission to construct a rear 2-story addition, premises R3 zone. Mr. Palik on.
He is caller number 2, Mr. Chairman. I just requested him to be unmuted.
Okay. Still is in mute mode on my participant list.
Mine too. Sammy, can you hear us? I've got a phone number. I'm going to try to call him real quick.
Okay. While we're waiting for that, I'll just place on the record that number 1021 Beacon View Drive has been withdrawn by the owner.
Sammy, we're waiting for you. You got to unmute yourself. Yeah, you're on mute. And it looks like you hung up, so call back. Sammy, call back. Yeah, call back. You hung up. Call back the number. Thanks. Well, it was moving along without a hiccup.
Hello.
Is that you, Sammy?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, Mr. Chairman?
All right, sir, this is Kevin Coyne, Chairman. I've already called your particular application on 1517 Beacon View Drive. Please tell us
Yes, sir.
about your application and explain why we should give you a variance.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Ilhami Paliki on the right corner. And I live in the neighborhood right nearby 1517 Beacon View Avenue, Beacon View Drive. I've been living that area for almost 20 years. And the reason the house has been condemned and it's been bad shape, so I wanted to remodel and put a little addition into the back, so it's in the neighborhood and everything in the compliance. The hardship is a non-conforming, pre-existing, and I just want to put an addition and bring up to the codes. And this is it.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
And
All I have to say.
and Mr. Pellick, have you spoken to the neighbors?
You know what? When I did the application, and after a couple of days, I submit the application. I had a family emergency. I had to go up Turkey to see my mother. She was in the hospital, so I just came back yesterday, and I have no time to. And I didn't know I have to go to neighbors and you know ask around. But so it's I had no time actually, you know, and you name it. But the house has been there, and it's going to be compliant, and I don't think anybody, you know, at this point, if anyone opposes or not, you know.
All right, let me open it up to some questions. Katie, go ahead.
Yeah, so are there any variances required on lot coverage, FAR, setbacks,
No,
anything?
no. There's a plenty of lot, and it's all in the compliance. You know, nothing to. All in. I'm not asking any variance. You know, it's all in the. I think that's I remember. Yes.
All right, Jane had a question.
Well, I'm concerned because you said the existing house has been condemned. Is that true?
No, to condemn. I mean, he's in bad shape. You know what I mean? So I just want to, you know, it's in the front is trees and things. You know, I just want to bring up to the code and you know, and remodel and go on my life. You know.
So it has not been condemned, is what you're saying now.
No, yeah, no, it's not. I'm saying condemning. It's like the house is. It needs to be, you know, remodeled. You know.
But it's
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
That's
I'm sorry.
my question.
Yeah,
Kathy,
just
you had a
you know, with
question?
the language barrier. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Daphne.
All right. You sound like you're very busy these days. I think it's so important, and I know that as a board we've discussed this in the past, where it's like part of the process is really checking with the neighbors and letting them know what you're doing, and allowing them the opportunity to you know, to provide you with feedback,
but
information.
I understand.
Please don't interrupt me.
Neighbors.
I'm not done yet, please. Thank you.
Wait.
So my concern is that you have not talked with any of your neighbors and they don't know what you're doing, and you have no idea what their thoughts are. And I'm just concerned that you haven't completed that part of the process, which I think is a very important part of the process.
Yeah, like I said, you know, I had emergency, but the thing is, and everybody get a letter. So if like on the Beacon View Drive, there was she said her concerns. Then I withdrew the application, but that one, I mean, everybody gets papers. I figure, and you know, if anybody opposes, they come and talk. You know.
But you don't have signatures.
No, I don't have signatures. No.
You don't have signatures of any of your neighbors. You don't have signatures from your neighbors. Okay, so that's just
Yeah, but
Just
then
concerned about that. Okay.
I know what concern, yes, but the thing is, if I have a oppose, then that's why the hearing for. They come and they're, if they're against it, they say something. If they favor, they say something. That's the hearing. For the reason that's the reason for the hearing for. So that's what. And like I said, if I have the plenty of time, I had to travel, come back, and I didn't know I was going to travel either. Meantime.
We understand that, Mr.
So,
Palik.
but
We got some more questions, though. We got some more questions.
Okay.
Brian, Jane, I'll come over to you, but Brian had a question.
No, my question was the same as Daphne's last question as a point of order. Is there anything that we need to see in terms of proof of notice provided, whether they've had the opportunity to respond or not, or meet with the applicant? Is it enough to say that the notice was posted?
Let me, we'll talk about that in 1 second, but let me see the question from Jane.
I'm just, do you live in either of these properties that were on the docket?
No, I live nearby. I live 50 yards away.
So
100
you
yards
own
away.
multiple properties in the neighborhood?
Yes, the house next to is mine, and the following house and 4 house next to the road is mine too.
So a total of, just curious.
I have in the area that 3.5 house next to each other.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions? Okay, just to respond to Brian, yeah, the rule that we require is the mailing, which people will get. But what we do like to do as a board is to have as Daphne indicated, it's kind of a process we prefer, is kind of a belt and suspenders approach, and to go and have the applicant go talk to the neighbors that are more immediate, because the mailing is a little bit larger, and the more
Yes.
immediate neighbors. I'm talking, sir. This is the chairman talking, so it's very important not to interrupt the chairman.
I'm sorry, I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and so my thought on this is, I would suggest to Mr. Palik as chairman to ask the chairman to continue this to the next hearing, so it gives you the opportunity to speak to the adjacent neighbors. Because I'm just trying to be fair to you, be fair to the neighbors, because I would not like that to be a basis for the denial, when you would not be able to, you'd have to change things to come back. So I think it's fair on all fronts. And I would suggest, and we're not voting as a board, because there's no motion. What I'm suggesting is the chairman that you ask my permission to continue this to next month, so you can go and do your due diligence of talking to the more immediate neighbors. I mean, that's my suggestion. You can ignore my suggestion, and then we can go to a vote at the end. But I would recommend you follow my suggestion. But it's up to you. It's your choice.
No, it makes sense. Yes. So you give me more time to. Yes.
Okay. So we will
I would
continue
like to, yeah.
the matter of number 9, 1517 Beacon View Drive to next month. I hope your mother is fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that is, in my opinion, a legitimate excuse of not being able to do that. So I want to afford you that opportunity, afford the neighbors a chance to sign off. And obviously, neighbors signing off, I think you're smart enough to realize it bodes well for your application when neighbors agree. So I will accept your request to continue. So number 9 is continued. Matt, could you just reflect that? And board members, we will be having a new, so you're going to have to present again from scratch, Mr. Palik, because it will be a whole new hearing. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. So that closes our hearing, October 7th, 2021, zoning board of appeals. Do we need to take a break? Okay, I didn't think so. What I'll do now is call them in order. Again, I have to indicate where the matters are continued and so forth. So bear with me on that. I need to make my note about number 9. And on our continued docket, 12/645 Fairfield Beach Road was continued to November. Continued docket 10, 3280, 3300 Post Road, continued to November. Continued docket 11, 599 Kings Highway West, continued to November. General docket number 1, 314 Sturgis Road, Mr. Clark's application to construct rear deck. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'm giving that to Daphne.
Second.
Thank you, Brian. Discussion.
It's a reasonable request. It's a nice little deck. Give them some place to sit.
Pretty secluded backyard too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
not a
don't
little,
think anyone's
it's
gonna
not a
say-
little
Nominal,
deck,
nominal visual impact on the neighborhood. I'll be
but it's,
Okay,
it's
any
not
other
a little
discussion?
deck by any means, but it's not visible from the street or anywhere. So.
True, yeah. All right, bring it to a vote, and as you know, I go in order on my screen, so if it changes, this is the order, and we're sticking with it through the end. And the luck would have it, Daphne is in the good seat. She's next to last, so it's Brian, Jane, Katie, Daphne, then me. So Brian,
Yeah.
Jane,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Daphne?
Yes.
I say yes. 5 yeses. That clearly passes. Oh, I forgot to mention this in the opening call. You need a super majority on this. You need at least 4 members to vote in favor of your application. A 3-2 simple majority will not suffice, but a unanimous vote obviously carries the day. Number 2, 24 Thorpe Street. Ms. Siskar, Attorney Siskar presented her own application, and it's for a monument sign in the front of her law office. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Katie. Discussion?
It didn't seem outside of reason to me. It's not, I mean, I would love to have something in that says how big the sign can be, because I know there's going to be some kind of complaint that we approved one sign that's defined as a monument, and monument signs take all different shapes and sizes. But let her be seen.
Well, there are limitations. She would have to seek additional variance if she wanted to exceed what is allowed
A
anyway.
specific size, right?
Go ahead, Jane.
I don't see any hardship. There are examples on the street of people who have signs attached to their building on their porches, illuminated by porch light, that are totally compliant and totally visible. So I don't see what the hardship is.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I mean, when you go down that, I mean, that street is mixed. So you've got some, you've got residential townhouses and you've got commercial. I don't recall. I was down there. I don't think were the other business signs are actually on grass. Aren't they mainly on the houses?
For 40 and number 50, they both have, fairly very visible signs on the face of the building.
On the face of the building, but not on the grass. Not.
Yeah, I haven't seen any that are out on the lawn.
And that's what a monument sign is, right? That we're talking about. It's on the lawn.
Yeah, it's an erected sign. A monument
Right,
sign
yeah.
is an erected sign.
And they're not on, there aren't other houses, there aren't other businesses on the street, I don't believe, that have those. Most of them are on the house.
Yeah.
No, the only thing that I saw that would be, and I can't define it as the hardship because we know that existing trees and things like that aren't the hardship, it's the definitions. But she's got that one tree that, as you drive up the street, kind of obstructs the view to the front of the house, and the extended porch. But I'm 6 to 5 and pick 'em.
Can I just point out something that I know it's come up before, which is that the variance for the sign, if it's approved, stays with the building. So if the business changes, the sign can become a sign for another type of business. So, think about that.
Yeah, and I just don't, I think if the other businesses, like Jane has pointed out, have been compliant, it seems like an unfair advantage almost. It doesn't really seem like it's right to approve something.
Has the board historically denied them, or have they just not asked in this particular area?
It's been a mixed bag. It depends on the location. It depends on the building. Usually the signage requests are for the larger commercial buildings that have multiple tenants, and the tenants are fighting for sign space on the one sign that's allowed, because it only has their name and they want to have a different sign, or they want to have multiple signs on their building in different areas pointing in different directions. And this type of request, I don't think has really come up for a single sign, single business in a mixed use building, mixed use area. But this in my time, I don't recall. I've had a lot of sign requests.
Yeah, I think I would have a harder time with this if it was a multiple placard sign, or one of those larger rectangle signs. But what's been proposed, I don't have a particular problem with.
Brian, if it's a variance, it goes with the property.
Understood.
Change. Yeah.
Understood. That's why I was saying earlier that I would be in stronger favor if the sign was more clearly defined in what we approved, but we can't do that. So I'm amenable to the board's decision.
All right, we'll bring it to a vote. You vote first, Brian.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Jane?
No.
Katie?
No.
Daphne?
No.
No. 4-1, that does not pass. Against number 3, 830 Beach Road. That's continued. I almost said Attorney Fallon presented, but I didn't hear his voice today. That's been continued. Number 4, 75 Harvester Road. Ashley Fox presented the application. Attic addition, open front porch. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Daphne. Is there a second?
Second. Jane seconds.
Thank you, Jane. All right, discussion.
I thought it was a reasonable request. We've approved a lot of these things. I don't think it's out of keeping with the neighborhood.
Yeah, when you read all the numbers and all the requests, it jumps out to you. It's a little bit scary, but it's not too far. My dog walks me past this house every once in a while. So there's a bunch of the smaller homes that were initially built in the 40s and 50s that are kind of like staying that way, but they're all slowly been developing into homes that are this size and some of them even a lot bigger.
Isn't this actually a reduction?
In a couple spots, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, which is good. All right. Any other discussion? All right, bring it to a vote. Brian?
Yep.
Jane?
Yes.
Katie? Daphne?
Yes.
I say yes. Unanimous. That passes. Number 5, 88 Dwight Street. That's continued to November. Number 6, 65 New Street. The Levines presented this, and it's for second story addition to an existing detached garage. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Daphne. Discussion?
Again, isn't this a reduction in setback? They're
Well,
proposing?
yeah, they what has been a couple. I mean, this has been the last 8 months. 9 months. We've had multiple variances like this. Many variances where they've taken the garage and want to go, and they've gone straight up. This one has a step back, which from it, which at least recognizes that. It recognizes a big wall along someone's neighboring. So it was good work to tweak it a little bit. Any other discussion?
Yeah, they're not getting rid of the trees either. That was important to me. Those are nice mature trees.
A good application.
All right. Brian? Yes? Jane?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Daphne?
Yes.
I say yes. Motion passes. Number 7, it's 101 Millard Street. Mr. Levy presented the application to construct second floor addition with attic and then a detached 1-car garage. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Daphne. Is there a second?
So moved.
I'll take the so moved as a second.
That was Katie.
You can have it. Okay.
All right, discussion?
There's no part of this is to increase the is to go over the coverage or FAR allowance. It's just setbacks, correct?
Yes,
That's what it says.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, you have a little like branch here, so you got, you're not doing any setbacks. It's just, so it's staying within the other.
Yeah.
All right, Brian,
Yeah.
Jane,
Yes.
Katie, Daphne,
Yes.
I say yes. Okay, number 8, 267 South Pine Creek Road. Ms. Jaber, Karen Jaber presented the application as the owner. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Daphne. All right, discussion?
Well, it's going to be new construction. And so I don't understand how I could approve anything that's new construction with variances. To me, that just goes completely against good practice. So I know there's challenges and all that. They also just bought this property, so it's not like they've lived there for 20 years and things like that. They bought it knowing what it was and then wanting to do something and apply for a bunch of things. So I'm not for this application.
I think the design keeps with the growth of the neighborhood. I don't think it's a giant, I don't know how else to put it, but I don't think it's going to be something that's terribly eye-catching. I think it's a nice design. I'm not a huge fan. You guys have sort of won me over a little bit on the FAR thing, but I think it's a considerable improvement over what exists on the property. So I can see where they have support from the neighborhood, and I find it hard to scoff at good neighborhood support.
Jane,
Yeah, we looked at a property not long ago that was, again, brand new construction where the FAR was over the permitted limit, and we requested that it go back to the drawing board and sharpen a pencil and get that down, and they did, and I think that's possible on this project too, because 8%, 58% is more than, it's more than 10% bigger than it should be in bulk, and that makes a difference. So I understand about the setbacks and the coverage, but it's always that FAR when the house is too bulky for the lot that sort of stands out to me.
It's going over 8%, right? Not 10. Am I reading that wrong?
Well, 8% is more than 10% of 50. You're adding.
I see what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. It's like, it's
Higher
more
math.
than-
Jane is
Yeah,
good
that's-
with numbers, that's for sure.
That's always the percentage arguments. Yeah, I see that it depends on which side you're on. It's
Right.
either 8%, it's more than
Yeah.
more than 10% increase.
And because
Yeah.
this is new, this house doesn't exist yet. It's just right now it's just lines on paper, and it is possible to shrink it.
I understand the comments, but I'm on. I side with Brian on this. I think that the property has all the trappings of being able to meet some variance to having a hardship. Corner lot is always tough. 55 undersized lot, which didn't create. Yes, she bought it with the undersized lot. But when you look at the lot with almost a 12 feet over on Rugby Road, which is, property and not, of grass and not road, you would think it would have a bigger lot, and the square is much below, which restricts how they can do stuff. So that it has three distinct things which give it a hardship. So that's my thought, but
Yeah, I don't
we have a
think
board.
I don't think as a board we have had as big a problem with 8% over the FAR. I don't think it's an exorbitant ask. I think that's like a small percentage of that spare living room that they asked for.
Well,
I think
It's reasonable.
I think it's new construction, and I think as Jane likes to say it, they could sharpen their pencils a little bit, and I think they could do a little bit better to be a little bit more in compliance with the zoning regs.
Yeah, I mean, I drive by that house about 12 times a day because it's on my way in and out, and what's there now is really needs to be demoed. It's not like they should be preserving it, and there are people that are just overdeveloping. I think the new construction is very in keeping with the street, and I'm looking at it. I get the FAR thing, but if you look at the coverage, from this little tiny funky house, the coverage on the lot's only going over by 1.6, which I think is personally very minimal. And so the fact that they're going over by 1.6, but then they're just going up, it's not going to be a towering skyscraper. There are larger homes on the street. I think there is a hardship with the lot for sure.
But if it's only that much, why can't they just, chisel back a little bit and not do it and be within the zoning regs? So it's a two-way street.
It is.
It's just that much. So why can't they just be within it? So
They have because they have a hardship.
Well, and there's zoning regulations.
Not only do they have a hardship, but it's something that we've set precedent many times on the board of approving more than 1% of coverage.
We don't set precedent. We take them on a case by case.
I'm sorry. I've experienced on the board where applications have been similar in request that we've granted such things, especially on corner lots.
Every case is different.
All right, well, let's bring it to a vote. We could be here till 6, saying the same thing over again. Brian?
Yep.
Jane?
No.
Katie?
Yes.
Daphne?
No.
I say yes. That's 3-2. That's a simple majority. That does not pass. I know Ms. Jaber was staying on the call, which is smart, so she heard the discussion. And we'll see if she comes back. Next item is number 9, 1517 Beacon View Drive. That's been continued to November. Number 10, 21 Beacon View Drive has been withdrawn. That closes our hearing for today. Thank you again, Daphne. Thank you very much for your service to the town of Fairfield and this board. I appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Daphne.
Mr. Chairman, before everybody leaves, I just have one thing I would like to say also. One, Daphne, thank you very much for your service and your years. It's been a pleasure, and for all of your help. Wish you best moving forward with everything that you do, and all the best. Secondly, a little office maneuvering here. Josephine, with all of her success and tenure with the town, has graciously accepted a role with the Plan and Zoning Commission as Jim Wentz secretary. So she will be moving over to the P&Z side. And Josephine, thank you very much for your 15 years that I've been with you and everything that you've done for us. And secondly, we have a new hire who has transferred over from the police department. Jody Karaganis is going to be a phenomenal fit working with us moving forward on the Zoning Board of Appeals side. Jody is sitting with Josephine right now. So, they both names start J-O, so hopefully the transition won't be too difficult. So again, I just wanted to mention that before we signed off for the night.
Thank you. And can I just say to everybody, thank you so much for everything. I really enjoyed working with each of you, every one of you. And even Bob Brennan, I know Kevin, our idols, but you are really you're the other part of Bob, okay? And I wish us all the very best of luck and thanks for everything. It was great working with you, but doesn't mean I still won't be working with you, okay? So I just want to wish Jody the best too. You're gonna love her. She's just following my steps here. I'll tell you that. She's great. So best of luck with everybody anyway. And Daphne, not only I've met you outside and inside, so you are really, really, I have to say, just a nice friend and a nice board member. And I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors, okay?
Back right at you. Thanks, Josephine.
Okay.
Best of luck
Bye,
to you
guys.
too.
Thanks, Josephine.
Hey.
Welcome, Jody.
Kevin, give me a call when this is over, please.
Yep. And everyone, tell people to go out and vote. We have an election coming up.
Best of
There's
luck.
some people that are running. Brian is running, and we have alternates that are running. I'm running as well. I would still like your vote, even though I'm unopposed, but I still like your vote anyway. I need at least one. I don't know if my wife's going to vote for me, so
Kevin, I'll trade you 1 for 1.
Worry, Kevin, you'll get in.
All right. Take care, everyone, and see you next month.